Now, this morning we are on and we are chatting all things election, all things general elections. And this morning I have the privilege of sitting and chatting virtually with Mickela Panday, who is the political leader of the Patriotic Front. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, my dear. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on this morning. Now, we heard an announcement yesterday that you have put forward a candidate for the Tobago West seat. So this means that um, you are also exploring having candidates here in Tobago East and Tobago West. Tell us more about that.
Of course, I don't think you can call yourself a national party if you don't contest Tobago. It is one country, it's Trinidad and Tobago, the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. So that was very important to us. And of course, if you want to form government, I think Tobago should have an equal say. So that was really the thinking behind it. And we're glad to have our wonderful candidate for Tobago West, Miss Aretha Clark, who I think is an absolute gem and can only add to the party and governance of this country.
Excellent. And can you tell us exactly how did you find your Tobago candidate and what was the entire process for finding candidates so far?
Well, it's no different from any other candidate. We had put out that we were going to be screening and for people to put up their nominations. And then, of course, you come in and you do an interview. We have a screening panel, and that screening panel then chooses amongst candidates. And so it wasn't really anything different from all the other candidates who have been screened. And Miss Clark had put up her nomination, and she was screened and she was interviewed, and she's a fantastic lady, and we're just so proud to have her as part of our team. It's amazing.
Excellent. And so, have you taken a look at the Tobago voter demographic and noticed the culture of voting in Tobago, and how has that impacted the strategy that you're using moving forward?
Well, of course, I would be silly not to, but I think whether Trinidad and Tobago on a whole, that people are looking for change. um, Tobagonians are remarkable people. They vote on performance, and history will show you that. The NER, the TOP, and then we had the PDP, and there are people who look at performance, they want change. And if you don't perform, they're very brave and very willing to say, well, listen, we're going to give somebody else a chance. So I'm glad to be part of this and give Tobagonians another option, a viable option. So that's really the thinking behind it.
And how has the overall campaign been going thus far for the Patriotic Front? And do you think that you have a real opportunity to win the 2025 general election?
Well, something, my day, it's been going good because the only way that you can campaign, I mean, social media is important. You're a young lady yourself, and you would know that, but it doesn't take away from the fact that you need to be on the ground and speaking to people and finding out how people are feeling about things, and generally throughout the entire country, and in Tobago itself, people just they want change. They're fed up. People just want a better life. They want to be treated with dignity. Young people want opportunity. They don't want to feel stagnated, and we see what's happening in Tobago in terms of crime. Now it's a huge issue. They want the issues that are affecting them addressed. That's all that they want. Basic necessities, to have running water, have their roads fixed, to have good schools for, like I say, young people when they come out of school, to have opportunities. And whether you're in Trinidad or Tobago, we want the same thing. So campaigning has been going really good, and we see some of the other political parties based here in Trinidad mimicking some of the things that we're doing. So I guess flattery is always good. It means that we're doing something right. So yeah, it's been going good. Lots of young people are getting involved because it is their future that we are fighting for. So it's been going good. It's been going
So
good. Very exciting. Never.
Is the screening process still ongoing? Because you remember you did indicate that you would be vetting and having representatives for all 41 constituencies. Is that still your
Yeah,
plan?
of course, and it goes on, and it's quite interesting. As a people, we tend to be a little bit last minute, and nominations keep coming in, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. But yes, we're continuing with the screening process, and it's been going well. It's been going well. So I'm very humbled and grateful for that.
And what are some what are some geographically significant as well as specific issues that you have identified here in Tobago that is completely different from what's happening in Trinidad?
I want to reiterate that we tend to have a narrative of divisiveness, of Trinidad and Tobago, and politics tends to, well, in Trinidad they want to divide on race, and when we look at national politics, we seem to always say that Trinidad and Tobago are so far apart, and there's a even the language that is used is so divisive. I've heard political parties based in Tobago doing that. I try not to do that because I think when you look at it on a whole, we're suffering from the same problems. I don't think that they're different, but there are a few things, of course, that I and my candidate thus far has identified, and that is, again, similar in Trinidad, but it is happening in Tobago as well, which is the cost of living is so high, and you're finding that people have 2 to 3 jobs. Um, you're a caregiver, for example. Miss Clark was explaining to me, you're a caregiver during the day and then a cleaning job in the evening. I think there's a huge issue of healthcare, again related to the cost of living in Tobago, where people are just not able to eat healthily as they used to before, as we say in the old time days. And you're seeing a rise in diabetes, strokes, and heart attacks. And again, that is because it is too expensive to eat properly. One of the huge issues, again, is the elderly. The elderly seem to have been forgotten in Tobago, and in Trinidad as well. And I think that especially when you get older, that you should be protected and still be able to live with dignity. That seems to have been gone down by the wayside. And of course, one of the biggest issues that I see happening and the Patriotic Front sees happening in Tobago is security of land tenure. Um, uh, Regularization of land. We're seeing a lot of people ownership of land in Tobago is a huge issue, and we will be on the ground and finding out what's going on. We have met with a number of people, and as an attorney, I can tell you that there are some very questionable deeds out there. But basic necessities, people have to be able to have food, water, clothing, shelter, a home. So those are things not too dissimilar from Trinidad at all. Of course, in terms of Tobago, I often wonder, having spent from a baby, I was always in Tobago, so I understand Tobagonians. I understand their culture. I'm just concerned that why Trinidad, where Tobago is not Tobago in itself is not a top tourist destination by now, um, like the rest of Ireland. So it seems that they have all this potential, um, but nothing is happening there, and we need to move forward.
Thank you so much. And as you assess the Tobago voter demographic and population, do you think that you truly have a chance of winning the election in Tobago?
Of course. I mean, let's think about it. I don't think anybody enters an election to lose. But yes, I think that we have a chance because I believe that Tobagonians vote on performance, and that we in Trinidad can learn a thing or two from them. They've shown that on numerous occasions, that they simply want people to perform, to do their duty, to fulfill the promises that they make during election time, and that they're willing, and they have shown they're willing to give a party who they believe or they like what they're saying, or to put their trust in them and give them a chance. So yeah, I think that we have an equal chance as anyone else contesting. I don't feel that we are at a disadvantage, and of course, we will see when the election comes by.
Understood. Well, we're going to take a quick break right here and we'll be back right after this. We'll see you soon.
Good morning, Tobago. Let's go, go. It's a brand new morning. Rise up to a brand new dawning. As the passion starter.
Good morning, and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. This morning we have been speaking about all things general elections. And as we have been chatting about this, we have been chatting with the political party, the Patriotic Front, with Mickela Panday. And before the break, we were talking about the fact that you have had a Tobago representative thus far that is representing Tobago West. Now, we want to know, do you still have that position for Tobago East open for nomination? And what is the process? How can persons get into contact to submit their nomination?
Thank you so much for asking that question, and I deeply appreciate it. Yes, we do have that seat available, so people can put up their nominations. It's a very easy process. First of all, tell you you can contact us directly so we can guide you through it. But our phone number is 288-5020, so you can call us. Also, you can go online at thepatrioticfront.com and you'll be able to download the nomination form, and then you can email it to us, or any way that's sort of scan it, email it to us. But that position is definitely still up for screening, so we look forward to hearing from our Tobagonians, brothers and sisters. So you can call us again at 288-5020, and yeah, we look forward to hearing from you.
And we know traditionally Trinidad and Tobago has had a two-party political system where persons mainly focus on the two main parties. Do you think that Trinidad and Tobago is ready to veer off into an alternative?
Well, if it's still ready for a two-party, it means we must get rid of one, which has happened in the past. I think people are ready for change. When we look at our history, there are times you will see, for example, with the NER, that was a party formed and created in a week, I think, history with 33-3. So when people are ready, they're ready. And I think people are ready for change. Who doesn't want to do well? Who doesn't want to progress? Who doesn't want their children, their grandchildren to be able to have a brighter future? Who doesn't want that? And if people want that, they will vote for that. They want to see, they want to feel safe, they want to be have opportunities to feel happy, to see their country going well, to be able to afford food, to be able to go out to a restaurant, to just have a life where their country is developed and they can see betterment for themselves and their families. So two-party system, if one goes, if both goes, you never know what can happen. But I do know that people are ready for change and they deserve it.
What are
That's
some
my view.
of the unique policy positions that the Patriotic Front is putting forward for this upcoming election, and how do you think that would have an impact on the growth and development of the Trinidad and Tobago economy?
Not sure to understand your question, but
The policies that you are putting forward in this election, how do you think it would contribute to the growth and development of the
well, of
Trinidad
course,
and Tobago economy?
thank you. Forgive me, my dear. Thank you so much. I understand. The first thing is that we have to look at the economy on the whole, and we have been dependent on oil and gas, and now predominantly gas, and there has been absolutely no diversification, and that is why we are suffering in the way that we are now. You would have seen that with the closure of Petrotrin, we now have to use most of our foreign exchange to import oil. We need to diversify. We need to start to manufacture. We have to start to look at tourism in a more modern way. Sun, sea, and sand is good, but there's ecotourism, there is sports tourism, there is medical tourism. There's so many things that we could look at in terms of policy, and diversification, because that way we will get people to come and invest in our country. We seem to just be waiting for the price of oil to go up and external factors to really determine how we survive as a country. And right now, things are extremely difficult. Another thing is agriculture. And I think Tobago can play a huge part in agriculture and providing food not only for Trinidad and Tobago, for the Caribbean. We have in Trinidad and Tobago some of the most fertile land. It is not even something that is explored. Agriculture is no longer about cutting cane, it has modernized itself. The first thing a country needs to do is to be able to feed itself. So definitely food imports costing $5.67 billion, I believe it is, a year for 1.3, 1.4 million people is astronomical and crazy. I also think in terms of the education system that we need to modernize the education system, and we have to look at that curriculum that is stifling our children right now. Sorry, my dear, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was going to ask you, what role does environmental resilience and climate change play in your overall campaign?
It's huge. It's huge, because, of course, climate change is so important. And I have seen over the years, being in Tobago, talking to the fishermen, exactly how climate change is affecting the island in terms of erosion, in terms of the natural resources that you have. So it has to play an important role. We have an economic policy. We have to look at it in terms of the environment, how much we're going to invest into climate change. It is important how much we're going to invest into recycling, and why that in itself is so important. So you have to bring Tobagonians into the conversation, my sister. This is what is not happening. Politicians sit in a room and decide what is best for the people without going out there and touching base with the people. They decide what the people need, and yet they're so out of touch with the people and don't have a clue about that. So Tobagoans would have seen it. People get into power, and they forget the people exist, and they forget there's a huge divide, disconnect between the people and the politicians. So they don't know what's happening, and they don't know what the farmers are feeling, what the teachers are feeling, what the nurses are feeling. And that is something that we will address, that when you get into government, that your representatives continue to represent you. That's why they're called representatives. It is the House of Representatives. So ongoing policy, of course, we'll be launching our manifesto so that everyone can read about it. But it's also very important, after winning an election, that you continue to speak with people, because it's the people on the ground that know what's happening. The teachers can tell you what the problems are in the school. The nurses can tell you what the problems are in the hospital. The fishermen can tell you what the problems are out there. The guys who work in tourism can tell you what is happening out there. You don't sit in a room drinking from nice cups of tea and think that you will know what's happening. And of course, if you're there for 5 years, things change. So you have to be in communication with the people who who you're representing, whether they've voted for you or not, and continue to work with them. And policy itself, as you'd asked me, will continue to evolve. That's the only way that I think that you can govern. You don't govern just in an election year, which is what we see happening. It's an ongoing thing. And you don't lose touch with the people. And that's one thing I learned from my father. He was a prime minister. You do not, and also from Mr. Manning, you do not lose touch with the people. You have to continuously be out there. And whilst you will have policy, you will have a manifesto, that too is not set in stone and must be able to evolve.
Totally understood. And in closing, is there anything you want to say to Tobagonians as it pertains to giving their support to you in the next general election?
I just want to say, first of all, thank you for everyone that has reached out to us. I'm humbled and deeply grateful and thankful for the support that we have gotten thus far from Tobago. We will be in Tobago, so we look forward to meeting with you. We still have nominations open for Tobago East, so please put up your nominations. We're looking forward to young people coming forward to stand up, answer the call to protect our future, your future, and just really thank the Tobagonian people for their support and their open-mindedness and their willingness to give us a chance. And we are a national party. It is Trinidad and Tobago. One country, one people, one future. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you to the Tobagonian people.
Thank you so much, Mickela, and we look forward to having you again when you are ready to announce your candidate for Tobago East. Guys, we are going to take a quick break right here, and we're going to be back right after this, so see you soon.